Welcome to the Annexted Family Foundation podcast. This season, Setting Yourself Up for Success, is all about giving you the tools, perspective, and real-world insights to thrive in college, in careers, and life. Each episode blends practical guidance, expert voices, and lived experience, especially for alumni who have been right where you are. Today, we're kicking things off with a conversation centered on Lift as you lead. The idea that leadership is grounded in service, mentorship, and community. True leadership isn't about climbing alone, it's about lifting others as you rise. This episode explores the leadership qualities that create momentum, expand opportunities, and elevate individuals, institutions, and community. To help guide us through this conversation, we're joined by Shawn Sanford, an experienced nonprofit, executive career coach, and community builder. Not only is Shawn a force in her community, but she is also the Foundation's first Leaders for Tomorrow Scholar, an alumna from the class of 2008 from the University of Notre Dame. Shawn, we are so incredibly excited to have you here today. I can already feel the energy just shift in the room, having you here. Oh my gosh, thank you. You know, I talked a little bit about you at the top, and I really want to hear more from you, your story, your journey. So let's start there.
It's always hard to know where to start because depending on who I'm talking to is kind of where I start. But I like to start at 8 years old. I like to start at 8 because that is the most transformational year of my life. It was the year my sisters and I were put in foster care. Fast forward 10 years later, I am attending the University of Notre Dame thanks to the Annexted Family Foundation and so much support from Notre Dame. And that's the next big thing that changes my life and changes the trajectory of all that I do. My bachelor's degrees are in American Studies and Africana Studies. I went on and got my master's degree. And professionally, I am an association management executive. I help nonprofits with membership strategy, and I love what I do. And it's really interesting because a lot of people don't love what they do.
Yeah.
And I like to say it's never too late to pivot.
I know. Oh, Shawn, thank you for sharing that. It's just so incredibly meaningful. We've talked a lot about value-driven leadership, but when you hear that phrase, what does it actually look like in practice?
That's a really great question because for me, how I define value-based leadership is taking shared common values and using that to make decisions and to influence people to bring out the best in them. It's not about my personal beliefs and pushing them off on anyone.
Yeah.
It's using those core shared values to be our guiding light, our guideposts, and to bring us together as a collective community. I also think about my favorite quote from Dr. King. In 1967, he was talking to a group of students, and he stated that he couldn't be who he is intended to be without you being who you intend to be. And so the interconnectedness of us all is what's really important. So not having blinders on my goals, because helping you reach your goals will help me reach mine. And so when I think about values, I don't think about religion or anything like that, just our shared humanity. And how can we come together to achieve our collective goals?
I love that.
Wow.
Values is something that I think we develop over time through experience, but we're also born with it too at our core. I'm wondering, if you could share with our scholars, maybe a few of your core leadership values and maybe how you started to identify them.
I love what we're born with because I don't believe that because we were born in a certain place and in a certain time that I'm right and anyone else is wrong.
Yep.
And so I believe that there's no such thing as our values clashing because we're all here for a purpose. And so when I think about how my values really shape, how I lead and what I intend to inspire others to do, I think about less religion and all the things that we're taught, more about just being our best selves and showing up fully every day. And sometimes that makes us uncomfortable. I know I'm uncomfortable. I I push past the discomfort to ensure that everyone around me understands that they're leaders too.
Yeah.
And that leadership is not hierarchy, it is not job title.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage my mentees to always lead from where they are.
Yeah.
In the seat that you are right now, how do you influence others around you to be their best selves? And that's what leadership is to me. I think when people hear the term value, they sometimes think religion and they think what's passed on from family. I think values are so much bigger. To me, it's the moral compass. It is, we know right from wrong, but bigger than that, how can we pull out the best in each other? And it's less about our individual, personal religious backgrounds.
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Now we're going to move on, kind of shifting gears a little bit. So, what does that look like to stay aligned with your values when it's difficult?
Oh, I will not cry. So I'm a first generation college student, and being first gen and coming from foster care, it's very isolating. You're trying to do something that no one around you has done. There's no blueprint. There's no parent or anyone holding your hand, guiding you step by step. And so staying in alignment with my values during difficult periods, whether it was homelessness, job loss. Actually, recently, last April, almost a year ago, I was laid off from a job. And I think you think about first generation college students as like first to forge the college path, but people forget we continue to forge a path that no one's forged for us before.
Yeah.
I'm the first in my family to own a home, the first to have a corporate job and get laid off.
Yeah.
So all of these things, even though I'm 40 now, it's still so new. And so it's even in those difficult times, how do I stay focused? You know, it's interesting because I was recently at a conference and the main speaker said, we're moving from role to identity. And role he defined as the titles that other people ascribe to us. We're wife, we're mom, we're employee, we're cousin, friend. But identity is who God called us to be. It's who we are at our core. And so during difficult times, I thought he summed it up really great. I try to lean on my identity. I know who I am. I know the gifts that I have. And I try to use that as my reminder of you have to get up and you have to keep going because your identity is not the job and the title you lost. It is the leader that you're called to be. It's difficult.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that I have a 16-year-old daughter who does not let me wallow in my sorrows. When life beats me up, she says, how many days do you need, Mom? Okay, I'll give you a little bit more and you'll get up. And I'm grateful that she's my accountability partner because I'm able to get up.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I have chills on so many levels on this, but kind of building on what you were just talking about with specifically behaviors. What behavior signals leadership ready and before someone has the title?
Oh, that's such a great question. You want to be able to build trust in your, whether it's your family, whether it's work. Trust is the foundation.
Yeah.
I have a great relationship with one of my mentors, and I knew things had shifted for us when she started consulting me.
Oh.
We established a relationship where my decision making, how I make decisions, she trusted my judgment. And so when we think about leadership, especially at work, you know, are we volunteering for a project that's out of our comfort zone? Are we asking for professional development dollars to increase our skill sets? Leadership looks like I am raising my hand. I'm not quite sure I can do it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to inspire other people to lead. And it's not an extroverted thing. It's not introverted. Leadership looks different, but leadership is all about influence. So when we think about how we're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone and doing a good project that is going to move the needle at an organization, how are we then telling our story to others who may not have felt comfortable raising their hand? Mentoring your peers. Mentorship is not just up and down. It's it's across all levels.
Mhm.
And so I think it's really important that when we are leading from our seat, and I mean, as an intern, as a, first job out of college, what that looks like is being seen and being known.
Yeah.
I want to bring my dad into it because he's such a big influence over my life. And he's a baby boomer. And he believes you go to work, you put your head down, and you do a good job.
9 to 5.
And I've had to explain to him that that world no longer exists. And that if a company doesn't know who you are and what contribution you make to the company, they're more likely to get rid of you. They're more likely not to see value in you. So in that case, to me, leadership looks like kind of leading out loud. Even if what you're doing, no one can see, it's not a visible task.
Yeah.
How do you tell your own story internally?
Yeah. I think what I'm hearing, Shawn, is leading is advocating for yourself,
Yes,
advocating for others in the room, and then also advocating for those who might not be in the room yet.
Oh, that's a great summary.
Yeah. And just, companies in 2026, 2027 are operating in a more lean environment. And, it's not the era of, the company may take care of you. There's a lot more cut and dry. You've really got to invest in yourself and advocate for yourself in this, environment that we're in now.
And as my mentor likes to say, it doesn't matter if you're the smartest person in the room. If you've built no relationships, if you haven't advocated for yourself, you're almost invisible. You don't want to be invisible.
Absolutely. So I'm wondering, Shawn, if you can share, if you've experienced imposter syndrome and maybe what that looked like during pivotal points in your career.
That is a really hard question for me because I experience it, if I'm being more transparent, more as my role as a mom. I feel like because I didn't have a traditional mom in any sense. And it's the job that when you think you've gotten it, the kid changes. So
they're in a new chapter.
Throughout the playbook.
It's always changing.
Yep.
And I struggle to keep up. It is the role where I think I've taken the most training. I have attended parenting workshops. I kind of follow on social media people who I feel like are giving really good advice. But for me, what imposter syndrome does for me in regards to leadership and at work and in my community, it's easy for me to fight through it.
Yeah.
I always say if I have the mic, if I have the stage, other people have tapped me. They trusted me to deliver messages.
Yeah.
But bigger than that, something that I was just told by a mentee is when I was having a moment of imposter syndrome in my session with her, she said, Shawn, I wish you saw you the way others see you. And I broke down.
Oh my gosh.
Because my therapist told me that years ago too. That if you wouldn't have imposter syndrome, if you saw you the way everyone else saw you. And that really kind of shook me, and it made me literally physically, sit up straighter and just smiled and take some deep breaths and walk into it. And back to the role versus identity comparison, I'm comfortable in a role because it's boundaries. It's well-defined. Identities, there's no clear path.
No.
There's no clear path. And so for me, and it doesn't matter the external validation. Everybody can say, Shawn, you're great. But if you don't really believe it at your core, you're going to continue to fight through it. I also think it keeps us humble. I don't think anybody's higher power wants them to think you're some completed individual.
Right.
We won't stop growing and evolving until we die. And even then there's more. And so there is no, I'm completely rid of imposter syndrome and I've made it. What does that even mean?
Right.
What we have is, I think it's a way of staying humble and always trying to redefine who we are as we evolve and grow.
Yeah. That's so important.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kind of shifting again to confidence, which we all know can be so tricky. And what are practical ways to build confidence without tipping into arrogance? Kind of what you talked a little bit about.
It's such a clear, so I will say one thing about me that I love is even as a kid, you can fake confidence.
Yeah.
And I was able to fake it. I was able to show up and fake it, cry later, break down later, but in the moment, I was able to show up. But that line between confidence and arrogance is a fine line because it's really on who your audience is. I've been called arrogant by colleagues, by people on committees with me, and it's like, well, why? But you're reflecting for them something that they're missing. You're
Yeah.
highlighting it. And so I try to develop relationships personally with people before kind of being bold and out loud so that they know I'm genuine.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
genuine. But bigger than that, confidence is also something you have to work on every day.
Mhm.
Every day. I always say just get up, and showing up is half the battle.
Right.
It's not, there's no formula. But one thing I like to do is take a deep breath because I do speak fast and my thoughts are always all over the place. Take a deep breath, formulate my thoughts,
Yeah.
smile through it, fake it until you feel it for real.
Yeah.
That
I
is
love
my
that.
I love that. That
advice.
is great.
It's not until you make it. It's
No.
until you feel it for real.
Until you feel it for real.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I
love
love
that.
even like
Mm.
take a
Mhm.
breath. I
Take a
mean, that
breath.
is so incredibly helpful. So let's talk about those moments. I like to
Mm.
call them life's little curveballs.
Oh,
When all of a sudden things get shaken up. What helps someone regain clarity when things are difficult? There's disruptions,
Mm.
setbacks, curveballs.
yes. I don't believe in mistakes. I don't believe in mistakes. I don't believe that anything happens by mistake. So those curveballs to me are designed to prepare you for what's next, that next
Mhm.
level.
Mm.
And it's hard to feel that in the moment.
Yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
to feel it. I have a mentee who graduated from college May of 2025, and we just got her a job. So we're
Mm.
talking a year
Yeah.
of unemployment. But because she has me, I made sure she was volunteering. She has a beautiful resume of what she's done in this year
I love that.
so that it's not
Mm.
empty.
Right.
Because part of what helped her get hired was a volunteer project that we decided on together. And so life curveballs, when we're in that moment, it's hard to see kind of why, and it's hard to go down that rabbit hole of, well, I didn't do anything to deserve this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me? But now I can look back over my 25 years and see how clearly those curveballs, those minor setbacks set me up for something bigger and greater.
Mhm.
And I'll use my daughter. She's going to hate me for this, but I had my daughter at 24. And while, that's old for some people, it was young for me. I was less than 2 years out of college.
Yep.
Because I'm first gen and I'm out here in this world on my own, not having a foundation in a community.
Yeah.
Kids thrive when they're part of a village. It takes a village to raise children. And I'm grateful that my Notre Dame family was that village for me, but they were
Mhm.
spread out across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
over.
day to day, it was me. And in those moments of despair and not understanding how I can balance a career that's moving quickly
Mhm.
with being the mom I wanted to be for her, she was the encouragement. She was thriving. And so she allowed me to make a decision very easily to not just keep going, but that my career and those job titles I was pursuing, they could wait,
Mhm.
that I was not going to miss her moments. And I'm grateful that I chose her over the next big job title because I can't get that time back with her.
Totally.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And as we begin to bring this full circle, because leadership isn't just personal growth that we've been talking about, it's about impact.
Mm.
So how do you intentionally lift others as your influence grows?
Oh my goodness. I spend most of my time lifting others,
Mhm.
whether that's strategically because I am a career coach,
Mm-hmm.
or it's personally where my friends who are dealing with their setbacks, they always say, I'm going to call Shawn because she'll help me create a plan.
Yeah.
And so because I was lifted up so much, my Notre Dame family, my Annexstad family, so many people in my life have made sure that I kept going and have poured into me. All I do is continue to pour into others, whether that's creating resumes or helping people prepare for job interviews. I'm doing career days left and right.
Mhm.
I think it's really important that we give back to the communities that created us.
Definitely.
But I also don't think that ever ends, and I'm in this season of creating boundaries. Excuse me. And boundaries, not in a negative way. Sometimes that term has a very negative connotation, but boundaries so that I can replenish myself,
Yeah.
so that I can be clear and defined on the amount of time I can provide to the community and the amount of time I need for self-care.
Yeah.
I think wellness is like the term that everybody's using, and it's not this big spa day. It's small ways where we take a breath and we say, you know what, I'm going to veg out today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pour into me, whether that's some hot tea, whatever you need to do to calm down. And I'm being more intentional in this chapter at doing that for myself.
Yeah. I think that is so important for the annexed scholar community to hear. You know, many are first generation. Many are, they may have had a sibling who's, in college right now too, but many are the first in their family to attend a 4-year institution. I think that advice of caring for others is caring for yourself first before you can, fill others up. You have to fill up your own cup. And I think that is so beneficial in kind of life, success of whatever that success might look like.
I wish someone would have told me that at 18, though.
Yeah.
Again, I don't believe in any mistakes, but I
Right.
chose Notre Dame because it was close to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanted to make sure I was not too far from my sisters. But Stanford was out because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I flew on a very expensive ticket to visit Stanford after I was admitted. And I got there and said, there's no way I can afford this ticket on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But in hindsight, the boundary of the distance would have helped me greatly.
Oh.
But I was 18, and so making such a huge decision on
Right.
where to go to college alone.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we have so much more support. But I wish that 18-year-old Shawn could have heard, actually, you need the boundary.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To be okay mentally, emotionally, the boundary would have been helpful.
Yeah. I've got, one more question just related. I think it's so powerful how your daughter, Elise, this is like an Elise super fan club.
Yes, exactly.
We love Elise, and we're just so excited to see like what
she should be a guest on your podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm excited to see what she
yes.
does.
She is our wildest dream.
Yeah.
She wants to be a pediatric surgeon, so I'll be supporting her for a long time. But she's the best part of us.
Yeah.
I always say I want to be like Elise when I grow up. And I mean that. You talk about confidence without it being fake. She just wakes up and she knows if I want to do it, I can.
Totally.
And not just the confidence. When she has her moment of feeling like an imposter, she uses that as intuition to not do something. She uses it as a guide. She's like, there's a reason why my gut is saying I shouldn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
I try to convince her not to second guess herself, but she's like, no, that's not what I'm doing, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm trying to force something that I shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not that mature. I'm not that mature. I wish to be like her when I grow up. And she brings others around her. She's a licensed babysitter. And most recently, babysat for a new family who didn't even know she was a sophomore. She's so mature. She carries herself so much older. She's very responsible. And you can't, like, some of those things you're born with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't teach them. And I read it in NPR years ago that you do 75% of the raising of your children by age 12.
Yeah.
And she was 10 when I heard that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, there's no way. I have so much more I want to teach her.
Right.
She's 16. She's a licensed driver. And I'm at a point now where I know that if I teach her nothing else, she has what she needs.
Yeah.
She has life skills. She has common sense. But bigger than that, she's pulling everyone along with her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that I'm seeing.
I've just, kind of going back to what is important in life. And that piece of, you shared a few moments ago that instead of chasing a title, chasing a role, you made an explicit choice to commit time to your family.
I did.
And I think in kind of for our audience who might be 18 years old, 19 years old, they may not be in that stage yet of kind of having to balance family, career, life, caregiving older, parents, which may come later on down the line. But I think if you could share a little bit about how that choice, how investing time in your family has made you a more well-rounded leader in life, not just in career.
Yeah.
I think very important for our scholars to hear.
So in college, they would call me Mama Shawn because even at 18, because I had been taking care of myself for so long, I had more survival instincts. I was way more independent than my peers. So even at 18, I was taking care of everyone. Calm down, let's develop a plan. So now, even though we're 20 years later, they still say, I'm going to call Shawn because she will know she's the adultier adult is what my friend group says. And part of the decisions around prioritizing family, high school, I was still in survival mode and, struggling with where do I live when school is out and these big things that my peers didn't have to consider.
Right.
They went home while I was trying to still figure out what home looked like for me off campus.
Yeah.
Fast forward to becoming a mom, I hate to quote books, but when Shawn Sanford said we could have it all, I was the generation that was first told we could do both. You can't do both.
Yep.
And it's delusional to think. And by the way, she later apologized and said she was wrong.
Yep.
You can't do it all. And so because of my life experience, I really thought I was a failure when I started to take career moves that were more in alignment with my role as a mom. I started second guessing, why would God allow me to have an amazing education, amazing start to my career at AT&T? I had all these opportunities coming my way. Why is this happening? And now I realize it's because it was my identity. I couldn't see it in the moment.
Yeah.
It was because I was called to not just be Elisa's mom, but it forced me to shift my thinking that what I had to offer any company, even at a lower title. That's why I say lead where you are.
Yeah.
Because even with a manager level title, I was still able to contribute so much and companies still saw my value, even though I've turned down way higher titles because they would not allow me the flexibility to be the mom I want to be to Elise.
Yeah.
Now things are different because I'm chasing her and begging her to spend time with me. But I think it's important, especially in college, for us to prioritize ourselves, prioritize building the relationships with our peers. I have 2 friends who are engineers and they say, Shawn, we wouldn't have had any friends in college if it wasn't for you. I forced them to leave the libraries.
Yeah.
I forced them to join clubs. The GPA is not more important than the relationships you build.
Yeah.
They know that now, which is why I get these beautiful thank you notes. And so it's important that we spend those 4 years really spending time with each other and building those relationships because you don't get to make those relationships later in life. It's fewer opportunities for you to do so. So that it's easier later when you're having a family, you have the community you need to keep you going and keep pushing you, but also to help you realize that those kids are way more important than any job title you can try to work for.
Yeah.
That's right. You got that right.
Then you'll be in my seat hoping that the kid doesn't forget about you.
She won't.
She
Never.
Some days I'm like, you could have called me. You could have called me. And she says, what, Mom? What's up?
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Sharing not only your perspective, but your story. It's so powerful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Annexted Family Foundation podcast. If today's conversation helped you, we invite you to keep the learning going. Visit annexedfamilyfoundation.org to explore scholar resources, alumni stories, and upcoming opportunities. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode focused on setting yourself up for success. The Annexted Family Foundation podcast is hosted by Patty Annexted, Executive Director, and Ellen Wamman, Director of Strategic Initiatives. To learn more about AFF, visit annexedfamilyfoundation.org. The podcasts are produced by The Content Club and can be found on most major podcast platforms, with marketing and promotion led by Maggie Marinovich. Music for this episode is provided by Study Abroad. Thanks for being a part of the AFF Scholar community. We'll see you next time.